Within the last 6 months or so, I began to do a lot of woodworking projects in my garage. I've also uploaded a few woodworking projects to my YouTube channel and also reviewed some woodworking tools that I uploaded to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Brian, and on this channel, I do like to do projects, tool reviews, tips, tricks, and more. So if you're into that type of thing, I hope you subscribe and hit that bell because YouTube will not notify you whenever I upload a video all the time. So make sure you hit that bell. And if you're already subscribed, make sure you hit that bell as well so you can get notified. But in that time, I have started to accumulate a lot of woodworking tools, including this miter saw. This is the Metabo HPT miter saw. I actually picked this up from Lowe's for $300, but this particular saw is discontinued. Metabo HPT purchased Hitachi, and this was actually a Hitachi saw. When I wrote Metabo HPT about it, because this does come with a 5-year warranty, and when I found that it was discontinued, I was kind of worried, but they did assure me that the saw would be covered under the 5-year warranty. And they also said the reason it was discontinued was because it was a Hitachi brand, so they want to just have their own Metabo HPT miter saw. The only thing that is different between this and the Hitachi is they just replaced the name on it. It's the exact same saw. Now, I did do a review, a box opening and a review on this when I first got it and tried to give some impressions on it and run it through a few tests. I do have a better idea about how good this saw performs now, so I will do an updated video on that. But if you're interested in that, I'll try to link the one I've already done up top. But I didn't have any type of stand or anything to put this miter saw on, so I originally had it on the floor and I would pick it up and put it on a shop table whenever I was using it, or take it outside, set it up on some saw horses with a little platform that I made for it and use it that way. But I needed a better way to use this, and I considered buying the actual miter saw stand that they sell for this, but that's made more for like a job site if you need to have some sort of mobility to be able to move this, set it up, move it, set it up. I don't need that. I have a garage here that I just want to put it at, and that's where I want it to stay. However, I do also want to make the space that this is going to take up as efficient as possible, because in this garage, I'm dealing with serious space constraints, as a lot of you may know. I just recently built a flip top for my planer and Ridgid oscillating sander. I did a video for that too. If you're interested, I'll try to link that up top. But the name of the game when it comes to me in this garage is mobility and efficiency. This thing is actually on casters. It's pretty big, and I did put it on casters. And the reason that I put it on casters, like I said, I don't really need to move it, but the length that I have from here to there is only about 6 foot. So anything over 6 foot that way, I'm not able to cut it because it's bumping into the wall. So at times I may need to roll this thing out and use it that way. And it does roll pretty easily. I've used 4 3-inch casters on this side and 4 3-inch casters on this side. So a total of 8 casters is on this. They're heavy duty swivel cool yeah casters. I'll try to link some below. They're actually pretty good casters. I've used them on almost every project that I've done in this garage, and they are really nice casters, and they're also pretty affordable, so check them out below. So I've had this made for a couple months now, and I've been using it, and it works really well. Unfortunately, I did not tape the process of me building this miter saw station. However, I am going to go through and show you what I did to build it, and I'll also maybe make some supplement videos about making drawers or making the cabinet doors. There's also other videos on YouTube. So if you can make a box, if you know how to use pocket holes and make a box, you can make this pretty easily. It's not very hard to make. I never made nothing like this, so I didn't tape it, and I wasn't sure how long it was going to take. It was a pretty big project, and it did take me a significant amount of time, and it's also inexpensive project. Total lumber I've got in this is about 6 sheets of birchwood plywood. And I also have probably about 4 2-foot by 4-foot 1/4-inch birchwood plywood as well for the shaker style cabinet doors. And I also have 1x4 pine for the borders of the doors. I think I used a total of about 4 8-foot 1x4s. If I were to do this again, I would probably rip these down to 2.5-inch and buy some 1x6 pine, and it would probably be a lot cheaper, but I just used what I had, and I actually ripped these down to about 3 inches. Typically, people will rip them down to 2.5 inches from what I found out, but 3 inches seemed to be pretty good for me. I was using a 1x4. I couldn't squeeze 2 out of it, so I wanted to make it a little bit beefier, so I went with 3. And I've also probably got about 1/4 to 1/2 a sheet of 1/2 inch plywood that I used for the bottoms of all of these drawers. So total in lumber, about $400 to $500 in lumber just for this. And I also purchased all of the full extension ball bearing slides for these drawers, but I went to Home Depot originally, and they're pretty expensive. The full extension ball bearing slides for a pair at Home Depot is about $20. But I was able to find a really good deal on full extension ball bearing slides on Amazon. It was 10 pairs for about $60, $65. So it was significantly cheaper for me to go with the ones off Amazon, which I will try to link below as well. I also link some other tools and stuff that I like. They are affiliate links, and if you do make a purchase, I do get a commission at no extra cost to you, and it's just used to help support the channel by buying tools, equipment, subscriptions, and all the other costs that go into running this channel, so it is appreciated. I also purchased some drawer handles for the drawers and drawer handles for the cabinet doors. The drawer handles that I use for the drawers are different than the ones that I use for the cabinet doors. The ones for the cabinet doors, it came in like a 30 pack for about $30 or $40, so they was pretty reasonable. But I like the look of the ones that I have on the drawer for the drawer, so it's all going to just depend on what style you like. For me, it just seemed to look a little bit better. I would have probably preferred to even have the cabinet handles to be like the ones on the drawers as well, but I purchased them and I got a whole bunch of extra ones, and I've used them for this workbench recently. I just built this. If you don't know about this, I'll try to put a link up top. It's a Schoberg workbench clone. I tried to clone their Elite 2500 workbench that sells for about $3,000. I tried to clone it on a budget, I should say, and I was able to build it for about $400. So it's significantly cheaper than the $3,000, but definitely check that out if you haven't checked that out. And also the cabinet hinges I purchased off Amazon, and you can also purchase those off Amazon instead of purchasing them at Home Depot. They're significantly cheaper on Amazon. I got the soft close cabinet hinges for the top over here, and I believe that these are not soft close, but I bought a 10 pack for I think around $40 or $50, so they're not very expensive either. I also purchased some T-Track off Amazon. This T-Track was cheap, and I didn't know at the time, but this T-Track is smaller than some of the more expensive T-Track that you can buy. For instance, the Craig T-Track. I have some right here, and this is actually top T-Track, but the size of the slot right here, I can't fit anything that can fit in these into those. So I just made a little makeshift piece that I could sit on there, clamp it down with a snare knob, and be able to butt my wood up against it whenever I'm making repeated cuts. I didn't want to go with the fence all the way across. I just felt like it was unnecessary. The only fence that you really use is this fence. If I need any more, I could extend this out a little bit, but I don't think I'll need any more fence besides what is there. So I didn't want to give up that room behind there or make any type of fence to go there. So I just left it open. You could make a fence for yours if you think it looks better, but in my opinion, it's not necessary. The T-Track that I used, I think I got 2 4-foot pieces for about $40. T-Track is really expensive. If you want to buy the Craig to do this, you're going to pay probably double of what I paid for that. So I did want to save a little money right there. But the way that I made this is I made one box that was about 5.5 feet long by 2 foot deep by about 37 inches high with the casters. So it was probably around 34 inches without the casters. But when I calculated the height that I wanted it, I added the casters in. The dimensions, if you were wanting to build something like this, your dimensions can be whatever you want them to be. That's the beauty of making stuff yourself. You don't have to be stuck using any one thing. You can innovate and make anything you want, which is a lovely thing in my opinion. But once I had my box built, I put 2 dividers on the inside. I wanted my drawers to be about 15.5 inches wide. So I put one divider coming over at about 15.5, and then I put another divider coming over at about 15.5. And that was going to be where my drawers were going to sit. Once I had those dividers in, the box was done. I put the casters on, set it over there. Then I did the same thing right here. This side is about 25 inches long by about 24 inches deep by about 37 inches high. And as you can see, I have this set up to where I have one drawer on top and one cabinet door on the bottom. So all I did was put a little strip of 3/4 inch plywood in between where the drawer was and the cabinet door is going to be. And I also went ahead and put the casters on this side as well. I originally tried to tinker with going with just 2 casters on the end and maybe some sort of bracing in between to try to hold it, but it didn't work out the way I wanted it to, so I just went ahead and put 4 casters on here. The casters are going to be a little bit of a chunk of what you spend on this. To get some good full swivel locking casters like these, it is going to cost you $50 to $100 for the 2 sets. But once I had the casters on both sides, I wanted to make the platform where my saw was going to set. I wanted to have enough room to be able to rotate this saw from one side to the other and also to be able to bevel the saw when it was rotated. So all I did was measure the base of the miter saw. Now this is where it gets a little tricky because the bottom of the base of the miter saw is a little bit bigger than the top of the surface of the miter saw. So what I did was just have a little bit of an overhang from the top surfaces of these to be able to compensate for that extra length on the bottom. I wanted this to be a really snug fit, and I also wanted it to look good as well. I wanted it to seem like it was seamless almost. Obviously you're going to see some kind of seam. It's 2 different materials, but I wanted it to look good. Once I had the platform made, I just connected the 2 boxes with the platform. I also made sure that I braced the bottom of the platform to be able to withstand the weight of this miter saw and also any type of movement from side to side whenever I'm moving this, because that's going to be the weakest point of this whole miter saw station is this connection right here. If it were to twist or fail, it's going to probably fail right here. But once I had the platform connected, I began to come up. And to come up, all I did was make a box for this side and a box for that side. And I wanted to leave a space here to be able to store stuff there and also to give me a little bit more room if I'm cutting anything. That way the cabinets are not in the way. I can open the cabinet doors up above. So I made the boxes here. This box here is about 17.5 inches tall by about 22.5 inches wide. So it's a little bit shorter than the surface on the bottom, but I needed to make it shorter so that way whenever I'm rotating this miter saw, the back of the miter saw has room to move on the inside. And I did the same thing over here. I made it 17.5 inches tall. Once I had both of these boxes complete, then I wanted to box in the back of the miter saw. Now this is where it gets a little tricky because my intentions were to try to have a box and to be able to run a shop vac hose up through the bottom that I cut a hole out using a hole saw that fit the size of the diameter of the shop vac hose that I was using. Now in my mind, I thought it was going to work like it was just going to suck it all out, but unfortunately it doesn't work as good as I thought it would. However, it does trap about 96% of the dust. I'm thinking that if I get a better shop vac, a more powerful shop vac to run the hose up, it may help out a lot. Once I had the box built for the miter saw, I just put a piece of plywood in the front to cover it up here and also made another little shelf that you can see on the top right here. And this is just another box. So like I said, if you can make a box and use a pocket hole jig, then I guarantee you could be able to make this miter saw station. So to finish it off, I just made another box over here and another box right here to connect the box that I have for the miter saw to the 2 sides that I'm gonna put, that you can see I have cabinets in now. And I didn't want it to come all the way out to the 24 inches that this surface comes out to. So I made the cabinets about 10.5 inches deep. And I felt like that gave me plenty of space on the inside of the cabinets and also gave me plenty of room to where they're not in my way while I'm working on this surface. And with the longer box, I just put 1 divider on the inside to be able to separate the cabinets on each side. Once I had all the shelves in and all the boxes connected, I began putting in my drawers, and to put my drawer slides in, I just use a Craig cabinet drawer slide jig that they sell at any of your big box stores or also on Amazon. I'll try to link one down below, but it makes installing slides really simple. It almost takes all the brain work out of it. All you have to do is just measure, put your mark, put those on, clamp them down, and set your slides on there, and they'll hold them up, and you can just screw them in. It's really simple. Like I said, I only purchased 10 drawer slides, so I wanted to make these have 10 drawers. And to do that, I wanted the one side to have 4 small drawers with the one big drawer, and then I wanted 3 small drawers. And the bottom drawer I had in my mind, I wanted it to come out and be like a platform that I could put my backpack and some other stuff on. It works, but it wasn't quite what I envisioned it to be. And for the last drawer slide, I just made a big drawer right here that fits the whole inside of this bottom box. But once I have all my drawer slides and drawers installed, I then start working on the cabinet doors. The cabinet doors that I decided to do are shaker style cabinet doors. And to do these, it's really easy. All you need is a router and a set of router bits like these, style and rail router bits. Basically, it's like a tongue and groove. And all you do is use one to run down one side and one to run down the other side, and they actually fit together. If you set them up right, they'll fit together perfectly flush, and it'll look almost seamless where they meet. And it also will cut the groove out on the inside to be able to slide this 1/4-inch piece of plywood in. I don't have a router table, so I did them by hand, and there are videos of how to do these with a router table, but I'm thinking about doing a video without having a router table, so keep an eye out for that. And also, since I don't have a router table, I am going to be building a router table, so keep an eye out for that. If you're interested, you can try to maybe get some kind of idea on how you want to do yours, and you can see if I can even do it, because I've never done it, but we'll see. I think that I can do it. I'm pretty 100% confident that I can do it, but we'll see. After I have all of my cabinet doors completely put together, I put the handles on. To put the handles on, you just use another Craig jig. The same thing with the drawers to put the drawer handles on. It's just a Craig jig that sets up, and you'll center it in the middle. And once you have it centered, it has 2 bushings that you'll use your drill bit for, and it'll just run straight in, and it'll be perfect. It takes all the guesswork out of doing these as well. All of these Craig jigs are amazing. If you don't own them all and you're into woodworking, doing any type of cabinetry work, you definitely want to get all 3 of these jigs. And the next jig is for the cabinet hinges. That jig also comes with a 35mm, I believe, Forstner bit, and it's the exact size that you need. All you do is just clamp it down right where it needs to be, drill it, and you'll have the perfect size hole to fit the cabinet hinge in, and then you'll just line it up and install the cabinet doors. There's really nothing to it. Anybody could do it. It's kind of tricky to hold these up and be able to drill them yourself, but if you wanted to, you could try to find something to set up to help you hold it, or even clamp something down if you're able to in this area to try to, like here, you could clamp a 2x4 or something out to try to be able to rest it down on, something like that, anything to give you a leg up, try to help you out. But once I did that, as you see, I got this, and I think this thing is amazing. It takes up all of this dead space that was back here, and it gives me a whole lot of storage space. I mean, I have all these cabinets, all these drawers, and this thing has been an amazing feature for my garage. With that being said, it is an expensive feature. I don't think that I could build something like this for somebody else with the amount of time that it took me, with the amount of money that I had to spend to do it, with everything, the T-track, the drawers, the cabinet doors, with everything. I probably couldn't even build this for somebody for no less than $4,000 maybe. I mean, it'd be a pretty expensive build for somebody, but you could do it yourself for, I think, about $1,000 total is what I got in this. While $1,000 may seem like a lot for what you get right here, I don't feel like that's a lot of money. I feel like this is definitely worth $1,000. It's definitely the best thing that I've ever built for this garage. I believe the flip top stand is one of the most efficient things that I've built for this garage, but I feel like I accomplished something building this. Like I said, I wish I would have taped it all for you, but like I've been saying, man, if you can make a box, you can make this. I could probably just take some pieces of plywood and make a box over and over again and just cut the camera to it and make you think that I was actually building it, honestly. But you get a pretty good idea. It's more of a tour, and it gives you an idea about how I did it. You could find out how to do, like I said, you could find somebody to teach you how to build the drawers on YouTube. I'll probably do something about building drawers. I'll do something about building cabinet doors. And you can fill in the blanks to do the rest yourself. There's also other videos on YouTube of guys doing stuff similar to this. As a matter of fact, the guy, John Malecki, he did one that looks pretty similar to this, honestly. But that's about all I got for you. So If you got any questions, comments, or anything, leave them down below. And also let me know what you guys think about this down below. And also, if you haven't subscribed, like I said, man, make sure you subscribe and try to share this video for me. It helps me out because YouTube, they really haven't been pumping my videos out lately for some reason. And it really helps when people interact with my videos, comments, likes, shares, watching other videos. It pumps YouTube's algorithm up to be able to pump my videos out to more people. So it helps out and I appreciate it. Till next time, stay real.